the President of the United States with his first trip abroad to meet with a foreign head of state, choosing, of course, Canada, as many presidents have done traditionally. Very understated news conference, for the most part, very collegial, as one would expect with the foreign heads of state, or the two heads of state from these respective countries. Topics touched upon, interestingly enough, Nafta, as expected, borders, auto plants, jobs, and the thickening of the borders. Let's bring in Patricia Murphy, if we can now. Patricia, thanks so much for joining us. Joe Klein joining us as well with Time Magazine. I want to show you guys some pictures real quick. This is interesting. Prior to this meeting, I want to show you the pictures that were being released today from Canada when the president arrived. Now, keep in mind, this is the first time that he's gone outside the United States, representing the United States of America. You almost get a sense that he was certainly not jocular, never flippant, not goofy, very light on his feet, seemed almost very comfortable in this setting. Patricia?
Well, I totally agree, and that is definitely the message that he wanted to send, and he wants to send this message not just to Canada, but to the world. This trip is actually being watched around the world since it's his first foreign trip, but to say that America is your friend, Canada, America is a friendly presence, and he wants to really hit the reset button with America's relationship with the rest of the world, and so you see him there with the Prime Minister. We also saw him meeting with the Queen's representative. He went outside and waved to Canadians right when he got to Parliament Hill. So it's definitely a new image that he's trying to portray.
Well, Joe, is it a different image? I mean, one really does. Look, you would be nervous. I would be nervous. You're going abroad. You're the President of the United States. You're relatively a young man, as presidents go. He's African American. How do you rate it?
I don't get it. I don't get this guy at all. His dad left when he was 2 years old. His mom spent half her time in Indonesia while he was in Hawaii. He was raised by white grandparents who were the sort of people who didn't vote for him this year. And yet he is the most comfortable, confident fellow I have ever covered in such a high office. And it's constant. It's across the board. And I think it works very well for him and for us.
Well, he's coming into the presidency at a very challenging time for the United States of America. He faces some situations in terms of foreign policy and the agenda where not only the surroundings are difficult, but the promises he has made are going to be hard to keep up with. How do you fit Canada, Murph, into this equation, or do you?
Well, Canada certainly is a crucial ally for the United States, and we saw there that Obama was speaking with the Prime Minister of Canada about Afghanistan and Canada's role in Afghanistan. They've been a great partner to us there. Also talking about trade, talking about energy. Canada and the United States are crucially integrated on all of those topics, but they have to be a very close ally. We cannot take that great relationship for granted, and that's why he's going there first.
But a lot of people, the president of the former president of the United States chose to talk to Mexico at a time when things weren't really that difficult in Mexico. One would argue, or some maybe would argue, that given some of the scenes, in fact, some of the scenes that we're seeing in Mexico, here's one right now. I want to show you something that's just that we got in yesterday. Nat, sound up, guys, in the control room.
Es un enfrentamiento entre fuerzas federales y delincuencia organizada.
That's a reporter, and that's a gun battle between national police and drug dealers. This is a very serious problem that's not only affecting Mexico, but affecting the United States border states as well. Joe, some might argue Mexico's the country that really needs his attention. Are they right?
Well, both do. And he's already met with President Calderon of Mexico, and I may be breaking a little news here, but I've heard it rumored at the State Department that Hillary Clinton's going to send a special envoy to deal with some of the serious problems of stability that exist in Mexico and Venezuela and some of the other problems we have in Latin America.
Wait a minute. You're saying an envoy just as we've sent an envoy to Pakistan and just
Absolutely.
as we've sent an envoy to the Middle East?
And just as we're going to send an envoy for global warming and may send another one to North Korea. I mean, this is going to be, she's really changing the shape of the State Department. But to get back to Canada for a second, and the I was down in Kandahar province where those Canadian troops are, and they are walking the walk. You know, they are a very good ally for us right now, and they're looking pretty good. They regulated their financial community in a little bit more strict fashion than we have, so they're not hurting as much. They're helping tremendously in Afghanistan. And so I think that this visit today was a real acknowledgement of the fact that the Canadians are being very good friends to us right now.
Do me a favor. Let's follow up tomorrow on what you just reported about sending an envoy to Mexico. It's something that certainly has been asked for by many leaders in Latin America, and it's paying a different kind of attention to that part of the world, which for the most part has been feeling ignored for the last 8 years.
Rick, I think we're going to have to wait a little bit for it because the Secretary of State is still in Asia right now, and it's just something that's been rumored. But I wouldn't be surprised if it happens.
It would be different. We can certainly say that. Mr. Klein, Ms. Murphy, thanks to both of you for joining us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
The shoe thrower. The shoe thrower is on trial, and we are there in Baghdad, where he is explaining his actions. And why is he being hailed as a hero in much of the Arab world? Both sides of this story.
In things racial, we have always been, and we, I believe, continue to be, in too many ways, essentially a nation of cowards.
A nation of cowards. On the same day the chimp cartoon releases, our Attorney General makes that bold statement. Here's the question, are we? And was that the right setting for that statement? What do you say? That's ahead.
Stop loaning the money that we gave you. Totally and thoroughly failed in your mission.
That has to be on the sense of the American people that you understand their anger.
Previously on American Grandstand.
So please, fix this thing so we can get out of this stuff. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Fix this thing so we can get out of this stuff? Slow down, college. Not everyone here is an economist.